Alex Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Sean.
Chris.
Ooh.
Oh, we crashed again.
Oh, I know it's been a few weeks, but
Oh, sorry.
Wait, I tell you what. Do you want to go before me?
No, you go before, no, you go before me. If I'm last, I'll remember I'm last at all times. Sorry, Paul.
Okay.
That's all right. I've not stopped recording. I think we've worked out who we all are.
I think we're from the Isle of Wight, not Canada, so one of us has to go first.
Yeah. Is that how it works?
I think so. Yeah.
Surely,
I'll go first.
Just if you're Canadian, just apologise about it.
Sorry about that, Kieran.
No problem, my lover.
I'll do.
We've covered off all our stereotypes now.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, up. Let's talk about Summit then.
All right, mate.
You can tell we're slightly giddy. It's our 10th birthday today.
yay.
We are nearly
I'm
nearly old enough to vote.
What? Where are you old
I was
enough
gonna
to
say,
vote?
where are you voting?
I said nearly.
Wait, hang on. Give it a few more weeks, and America might be the place to go.
Yeah, can you believe 10 years ago we started doing this? And
Yes.
I can't.
Well, you've only been here 10 minutes.
I'm very much the replacement for Steve Carell in The Office. I'm Catherine Tate.
What the hell does that make me and Chris, who've been here since the start?
I'm Doc Cotton.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that makes me Ian
Not a devil.
Beale. I've got
I don't want
nothing.
That was a good impression.
Really?
I've
never seen that.
Nick Cotton to turn up.
No, we fired him.
What? Hello, Ma.
Right, Ma. 1% of our listeners are going to get all of this.
I'll be honest, I'm lost.
So, yes, 10 years ago, we decided that doing a podcast would be a good idea, and we want to thank everyone that stuck with us or joined us ever since then. It's been a journey.
We should probably apologise to those people.
What I'm going to know is who's been listening the longest. I've got a feeling I know who it is, but if you've been listening since 2015, get in touch and let us know when you started, apart from Rich Walker, who I know for a fact started listening around about episode 3 because he said we all sounded like Harry Potter. And I think Rich is still listening to this day, so I want to give him a massive shout out as one of our longest supporters. And I will get him to join our Sim Racing League at some point because he keeps tweeting about it, or Xing, or whatever you call it these days.
I can't think you can do that at the minute because they've had some kind of cyber event.
Oh yes, but
Yes.
but we're not allowed to talk about that. We'll get accused of being conspiracy theorists anyway. Right, F1 season starts this week.
Yay.
Yes, it does.
One accusation we're no longer Teflon on. Yes, the season starts this week. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a
It
very...
starts in Australia, which,
It's-
let's be honest, is the right place for
It
a
is,
Formula One season
But
to
it's
start.
so early. Like, it's so early in the morning.
Is it 5 a.m. this year?
No.
No.
I think so.
4
It's
a.m.
4. It's 4.
It's 4 for the-
Coverage starts at 2:30 a.m.
Oh, sod that. Oh, it is 4.
5 for qualifying,
Yep.
4 for the race.
Yep.
I'll record qualifying.
But yeah, it's been it's been a torrid couple of months since the last F1 action. How have we coped? But by not doing podcasts mainly. Sorry, we've been away a lot. Everything is just. You ever see the film Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Yes.
Life happens.
That's
Paul,
that's kind of been life for all 4 of us since the last race.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, not even finished sorting out last year's prediction league, so I still don't know who's won. That will get announced next week, along with the results from Australia, which, by the time you listen to this, the predictions will now be open, so you can put your predictions in for your top 5. are we doing this
Top
year? That
5?
Five's good.
yeah, that maybe.
Is anybody doing a fantasy? Because I've not bothered last couple of years, but I feel like I probably should.
I will probably do what I do most years, which I will set one up and then promptly forget about it.
I will.
Same.
I will set up a league in the official F1 Fantasy app, and I will put the details either in the in our chat thread for us four, or the show notes for everyone that's listening to join in. So there'll be an access code for the official F1 Fantasy game.
Actually, I might see if I can do that whilst we're recording. Why not?
It's not like it.
Jane,
Not like there's anything to talk about.
No.
Jane at her work last year had a fantasy league set up by the IT team at her workplace, and the way you could score points it made Formula E look sensible.
Ooh.
It was mad how you could score points. I'm like, if you at any point enter the top 10 during the race, you get 30 points.
What?
If your driver finishes on the podium, you get 2 points.
What?
It was just a ridiculous system.
So you get
But
more
somehow
points for
Jane-
just floating around in the top 10 at some point than actually finishing in a
And
podium.
actually, yeah, it was a stupid.
So we could-
basically, you got
so we-
rewarded for the first thing you did.
So we can determine from this, if you got points for being in the top, more points for being in the top 10 than being on the podium. Jane's work's IT department are all massive Hulkenberg fans.
Yes. Yeah.
I have an issue.
Just the one?
The actual F1 Fantasy League is a man waving a red flag, and it says, "Get ready."
Oh, no.
It'll begin Tuesday, the 11th of March at 11 a.m.
Oh,
At time of recording, it's
So,
Monday, the 10th of March.
I have questions
like
here. Why is he
8:30
waving a red flag for the start of something?
I don't know.
they do not know their own sport.
Surely it should be the amber lights flashing. Then again, do they know who the race director is going to be this year?
Oh, probably not, no.
Or a better question, do they know who the race director is going to be after 3 races' time?
Even
Who
less
is
so.
the race director? Is it still the F2 bloke?
I think so.
I don't know.
Don't think he's been fired yet, but he once dropped something on his foot and said, "Oh, bugger," so MBS might be getting rid of him for that.
Off to The Hague. Rui Marquez.
That's the one. Yeah, Rui Marquez, who was the Formula... What was he doing? He was doing Formula 1, Formula 2, and Formula 3 at one point last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he was F2 and F3, and then when Niels Vittich got fired, he moved up to F1. They brought somebody else in to do F2 and F3, and then fired them, so he ended up doing the lot.
And they promoted Jeanette Tan until she was sacked.
Yeah, I think she lasted 1 race weekend in the job, and then...
Apparently there's now someone called Claire Doubleman as the deputy.
Hang on, Claire Doubleman.
Doubleman?
Oh, is it double spelt Double or double spelt as in my favourite Belgian beer? Dubel.
Yeah, Dubbel.
Oh, the beer version.
how
I don't know why that adds anything. Just nice to hear.
Kieran probably also wants to know how many M's.
Just the one. Just the one M.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. And is her middle name Guinness? That's what I want.
Middle name is not provided in the story that I am looking at.
Darn it.
So what have we got to look forward to this season? I'd say
A lot.
I'd say a hell of a lot. Five rookies where 2 of them are actually rookies.
Yep.
Lewis at Ferrari,
Not a
Yep.
rookie.
not a rookie.
The only 2 teams who've got the same lineup as last year are Aston Martin and McLaren. That's all you need to know. Everybody else has changed at least one driver.
And a team that's never had a podium signing a driver that's never had a podium.
Team that's never had a podium signing a driver who's never had a podium.
Yeah, so Hulkenberg's not going to... Hulkenberg at Haas, they're not going to end up on the podium this year.
Hulkenberg was at Haas.
Oh, he was at
No,
Haas.
he's now at Sauber,
That's
who have at
completely
points
gone.
had podiums.
Yes,
You'll
sorry,
never
got
guess
that
how
wrong.
many podiums they got together.
Stop previewing 2024, Paul.
I think Max will win.
Oh. Crazy.
It's been a long day. I've slept. Yeah, that went wrong completely. I've forgotten who's where.
Have you got a grid in front of you? I'd probably get the entry list in front of you.
I think an entry list would be good. At the moment, I've got a page about Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Right, he's not in it.
Unrelated. Can I at this point say one thing about the build-up to the F1 season?
Yes.
And
Yep.
I don't think I'll bring this up again because A, it was about 3 weeks ago, and B, I don't think it was as popular as it was in the room. But I went to the launch at the O2.
Yes, you did.
And it was, to be honest, when we got there, all the lights and all the cars and all the Jack Whitehall, it was fine. It was lovely. It was great. Then we watched it on TV and went, oh, this is dreadful.
Yeah, on TV it was a bit...
It was, yeah, I think, Sean, you said at the time it was flat. It did sound very flat on TV.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. But what I would say is I thought it was a very good event in the room. It was very nicely done.
Just didn't translate.
What would you say about the booing about the Red Bulls when they were on stage? Was that downplayed or was that definite booing?
I think that Horner copped it. Max Verstappen got boos, but there were also enough cheers. I would say the most shirts I saw in the room were probably Red Bull shirts. So I think there was enough cheers to outweigh the collective boos of the other 9 teams' worth of fans and the neutrals. But Horner definitely got booed. And that night, we stayed at a hotel near the O2. Or the next morning, I can't remember who it was, but I said, I think it was a bit unfair that Horner got booed. And Jane just told me, went, you were the loudest one of the lot. They can hear you from where you were sat. But when I do it, it was cute.
You got sort of swept away in the pantomime atmosphere.
Oh, no, he didn't.
That's what he says.
But I mean, the thing that came out of that was Jos said that Max is never going to take part in a publicity event in the UK ever again after all the booing.
Oh.
That means they'll just hold it somewhere else next year.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And maybe they should do. Maybe they should hold it in
rotate
France
it.
or the United States or who knows. But it doesn't have to be in the UK, does it?
No, it'll be in Saudi Arabia because it'll become part of Riyadh season, which appears to have been going on for about 6 years. That is one long fucking season.
Okay. But yeah, I think that I don't know anything about Riyadh season.
If you're not into boxing, that's not a reference that's going to land.
Oh no, it's not. It's not just on boxing. It's on just about any other sport that's there as well, apart from the Saudi F1 Grand Prix.
That's not in Riyadh.
Exactly.
No.
That'll be why.
Half of the Riyadh season boxing is not in Riyadh.
There was Riyadh season sponsored boxing from the Albert Hall last week.
Yes.
Riyadh season this year includes... Oh, it's just boxing and UFC. Oh, and the WWE Crown Jewel.
Okay, so fighting. Generic fighting.
Yeah, right up Yoss's street.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. You should love it. That's why he doesn't want it in the UK. It's too civilised.
Yeah, send him out to Saudi fighting and misogyny. It's the Yoss Olympics.
He loves it.
Right, okay, so on top of losing the FIA accreditation, I'm now losing Red Bull accreditation.
To stick up for Red Bull a little bit, I would say that of the 10 intros they did, where they said to every team, you've got 7 minutes to do whatever the hell you want, I think Red Bull's was of a very high quality, even though they didn't get Max or Liam to say anything at the event. I think their whole piece together was very good. But Horner, why would you give the microphone to a man so universally hated as Christian Horner? That's a bad idea.
His decision, do we think?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a man who's unaware of his own unpopularity.
Yeah, I know what I can do to rescue my reputation. I will stand on a stage holding a microphone in front of 15,000 fans.
I feel like the Sauber drumming went on for a lot longer than 7 minutes.
Yeah, but was that because it was the first team out, or was that just because it was just like, well, we've got 7 minutes, let's play the drums?
I don't know the
John Bonham.
the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls F1 team intro.
Was that the one where the car went up, then it went down?
And that was
your Chihuahua one, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that was the one where they were going around trying to get people to say the full name of the team, which nearly takes 7 minutes, as it bloody is.
Yeah, bad script. I like Manure a lot. That didn't work fantastically well.
No, it was flat on TV, and I imagine that was flat in the arena.
Yeah, I think people were just swept up in the fact that it was, a big glitzy event. I would say that if you wanted a big cheer, all you had to do was take your most lovable driver and put their face on the screen. Because Hülkenberg probably got the biggest cheer of the night of everyone. Maybe Lewis at Ferrari and Sainz at Williams got big cheers, but I'd say Hülkenberg got a huge cheer. You didn't need to do like the whole 5-minute skit of let's see if they can, if this pizza delivery person can say our team name, or the other weird one from Aston Martin where they decided to do a 20-second James Bond skit and then not tell their drivers to step forward when they needed to. And you stood there for 15 seconds, look at a doorway going, oh, the driver's going to come out. I think the driver's going to come out.
Well,
maybe not.
Alonso looked like he'd been forced there at gunpoint.
He probably had.
Taking a leaf out of Lawrence Stroll's book.
But Rockstar of the Night definitely has to go to Lando. Calling the Netflix crew wankers.
Oh.
Yeah, Rockstar and wankers in the same nomination.
Didn't Gordon Ramsay drop a swear as well?
Yeah, I get a feeling that was scripted.
I missed it. I was trying to buy a Pepsi at that point.
If you're in
all the bars were closed.
And you were probably filling out the mortgage paperwork to get one. I've been to the O2.
Yes. £9 for a pint of Budweiser. I got mugged.
God.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Horner got booed. He got booed heavily. But nothing got booed more than a logo of the FIA.
Yes. Yeah.
That really took it.
I mean,
that logo.
I mean, when we started this, Bernie was the bad guy and the FIA seemed to be the good guys. Is it we now miss Bernie and the FIA are a bunch of wankers? Actually, we don't miss Bernie.
No, I wouldn't go that far. I'd say Stefano's more popular than the FIA now, though.
Yeah, that's also like saying a cold is more popular than gout.
Don't forget, Paul, when we started this podcast 10 years ago, one of the main talking points was like how much poor health the Formula One at that time was in, and what could you do to fix it? And we went through a whole load of different scenarios of what could you do to fix Formula One. And one of the things we did actually come up with, it might have been Lee that actually suggested it, I'm unsure, was to have like a big open, season starting event in one arena.
It was you. It was you.
I don't know if it was me. It might have been me. But that's exactly what we just got. And since Liberty Media took over Formula One, they have expanded the sport massively, and it's been really healthy for the sport.
Yeah.
So, we've come a long way in the days since, as you just said then, Bernie was the villain and the FIA seemed like the good guys. And now we've got Mohammed Ben Sulayem at the top of the FIA.
Garbage pile.
I don't know that the whole thing's a garbage pile, but I just think it's gone down a very strange it's gone down some very strange avenues. And I did see over the winter some rumours of Susie Wolff standing against MBS when it comes up to the FIA elections later this year, but she's distanced herself from that and said, no, it was an Italian publication trying to create something out of nothing. I'm not standing against him. I'm fully focused on the academy, which is fair enough. But
so we can take that as an official denial then?
Well, I thought it'd be really cool if Susie Wolff stood against Mohammed Ben Sulayem, but then I thought, well, wait a second. If Susie Wolff stands for FIA president and gets in, that then creates massive conflicts when it comes to Toto Wolff and Mercedes, and what did he know, and what does he know, and what does she know, and what it's going to cause more problems than it solves. If Susie Wolff becomes president, I feel at the moment in time.
Maybe give Jack Whitehall the job.
I thought he was okay. I thought he did quite well with the hand he was given. Clearly, he didn't know the first thing about F1, and he'd read a very good script. But I thought he did okay, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a... You don't usually associate him with hosting big events. All I've got to say on that story is like, fuck, it wasn't Corden.
True.
Oh, yeah, that's a very good point.
Or Ricky Gervais.
I don't think he'd do it.
Oh, he'd do it. There's a check at the end. I mean, don't forget the one person in the world who thinks that Ricky Gervais is the funniest person in the world is Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, that's true.
You can actually say the same for James Corden as well.
Up until 2008, I would have agreed that Ricky Gervais was one of the funniest people in the world. Then the rest of it happened.
God, you seen the introduction of Lying?
Yeah, but that didn't do him any good.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're digressing again. With plenty of tangents. Then again, it wouldn't be one of these if it didn't have tangents. So the new lineups.
Yes.
What do we think? We'll start with Alpine. The big question: how long is Jack Doohan going to last?
Ooh.
So
as long as he's good, and the second he makes a mistake, he's out.
Yep.
Now, I think Flavio's definitely got his card marked. Massive props to Colapinto for not even being drawn on talking to it, just saying, I'm here as a reserve driver, I'm here for whatever the team needs me for.
Yeah.
And not doing the whole, I'm here to get a race seat. But, I mean, the story that Doohan's contract is only for the first 6 races of the season must be a little telling.
It's come from somewhere, hasn't it?
And I mean, he's been kicking around the paddock for quite a few years. So I think he's done 2 years as reserve driver.
Yeah.
I was asked whilst watching Drive to Survive this weekend what Jack Doohan, what his junior career was like, and I was like, I don't think he set the world on fire.
It was fine.
He was all right. He was pretty good. He wasn't like, nobody was like, oh my God, check this guy out. But he wasn't also like, pinning it every day.
No.
He was pretty good. But that's as far as it went, as far as I could tell.
The other thing I would sort of say about him is I feel like every time he took a step up, he needed a season, and then he started challenging where you need to be if you're making your way up the ladder towards F1. So he needed like a season to settle in, which is not going to happen this time.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at his junior career, 2020 Formula 3, 18 races, no points, 26th place. 2021 Formula 3, 20 races, 4 wins, second in the championship. 2022 Formula 2, 28 races, 3 wins, some fastest laps, 6th. 2023 3rd from 25 races. So yeah, he does take a little bit.
It's a decent class for that 2022-2023 F2 season, because you're going to have the likes of Behrman, Porcher, Festi, who you could argue
Drugovic?
definitely Porcher and Festi. Drugovic, yeah, 2022. That's a lovely bear trap, and yet I've walked around it. So, Victor Martin, Iwasa.
Yeah.
Victor Martin's second in the race of champions at the weekend.
It won the team competition, I think, as well, didn't it?
Only because, he was with Sebastian
Well,
Loeb,
yes.
who won the overall.
He was also second in the race to get an Alpine.
Yeah, this is true. I did say France or Norway for the Racing Champions, didn't I?
Who won it in the end?
Sebastian Loeb. And France.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think he was in a very decent class. And to come third in that season, I don't think is a mean feat.
Oh no, I mean it was a very strong grid both those years. But the first,
who were the 2 that finished ahead of him?
Porcher and Vesti, I think it is, because that was a title battle, wasn't it? Those 2.
Neither of whom have particularly got a shot in F1.
No,
No.
Vesti got
Yeah.
leapfrogged by Antonelli,
Yeah, Vesti's the
Oh,
official
yeah.
Mercedes reserve driver.
Oh, is he now?
Yes.
and Pourchaire. Well, he went to
Did
Indy
a
for
couple
a
of
bit, didn't
bits
he?
in
And they
Indy,
lost
yeah.
interest.
And he's gone to European Le Mans.
Oh,
So Vesti's the official reserve driver. Why Valtteri Bottas?
It's got to be a twofer, isn't it? He's, same way they had Mick Schumacher and Esteban Gutierrez. When you really need a driver, you pick someone else.
Well,
That's-
they've got Bottas in case anything happens to Russell or Antonelli on a race weekend and they need somebody with experience. And they've got Vesti to do Friday mornings.
Okay, that
Is
probably
Vesti
makes
is
sense.
Vesti sim guy as well? Is he?
I
gonna be
think
doing
it
lots of that?
will be sim guy, yeah.
Forget that Jack Doohan was part of a Red Bull Junior Academy
Yes.
for years.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was Red Bull Academy.
Yeah.
I remember watching him in, I think it was...
He started in British F4, I
Yeah.
think, is kind of where he first appeared when he signed with Red Bull.
I want to say Euro Formula.
He did do,
Was
I
fine.
think he went for Euro Formula Open.
Yeah,
anyway-
Formula Open.
But anyway, yes. I think that
With
with Alpine, I think the general consensus, Chris, you hit the nail on the head. As soon as he fucks up, he's gone.
I think
Yeah.
he won't last beyond Miami.
Where's
That's
that? Is
my
that the
prediction.
7th?
Is that round 5 or round 6? It's
Miami's
gonna
round 6, which, funnily enough, is the last race of his contract.
Is it a 6-race contract he's got then?
The rumour.
Rumor has it, and it's.
Has he done one of those already? Does that count?
Oh, that's an interesting
I
point.
don't think the one that he did last season counted. I think that was negotiated as an extra
Okay.
under his
So, yeah.
under his reserve driver agreement last season. So he's
Then, yeah. I
The
think
thing
he's
for
gone
Alpine as
after
well. Yeah, gone after Miami probably, and unless he's amazing and sort of puts Gasly in the shade, which I think is going to be very difficult to do. But I think the thing about Alpine as well is not only do I think the car looks amazing in comparison to how it's looked in recent years, but I actually think Alpine are probably back where they wanted to be after looking at their performance after testing and sort of the general feel and reading articles that other podcasts and media outlets have written. It looks like Alpine are sort of spearheading the midfield, sort of best of the rest after the top 4, which, that actually puts extra pressure on Jack Doohan, because if he's not, on the cusp of points when people are falling out of the points, then, he really should be if that's where that car is sitted.
Well, I think after pre-season testing, the general consensus from Williams is that Alpine are the team that they're most going out for.
Mm-hmm.
So I think even at the track, they're thinking, Alpine are number 5 in the overall pecking order.
It was seen that way at the moment. I mean, everything can change even after the first race.
Yeah, it's going to be an odd one this year because I don't think there's going to be much moving about during the course of the season, because obviously everyone's concentrating on the 2026 regulations, and there's not going to be a great deal of updates to this year's car. And I think teams are going to drop out early, just so as they don't compromise next year when, let's face it, it's what the vast majority of teams are working towards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams who don't feel they have a shot at glory this year are already starting for 2026. So I think probably you won't see much from Haas. You probably won't see much from Sauber. Maybe not Williams either.
Aston Martin, of course, being the biggest name that are going all out for 26 with Adrian Newey.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean Aston Martin, they did not have a good test. Lance Stroll was sick on the final day. I think they did
Where
they
things
did.
completely improved on the spot.
Yeah, Fernando had to get back in the car when he'd already
With the
prepared to
sick?
leave the circuit. Yeah. And
James Hunt used to throw up in his car. Apparently, it's a sign of a champion.
Oh, there you go.
okay. Anyway, yeah, Aston Martin had a bad test. The car wasn't doing what they thought it was supposed to do, and they didn't do as many laps as they wanted to do. So they actually had a pretty bad testing So possibly no improvement from Aston Martin. Maybe not back at the head of the midfield fighting with Alpine. More likely shuffled a bit further back in the pack.
I mean, one thing you've got to remember about Aston Martin and Alpine as well is it's their not only are they building towards the new regulations next year, but they're also both building towards new engine suppliers.
Yes.
Because it's going to be the Alpine Mercedes and the Aston Martin Honda.
Yes, it will be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is strange, given that they're both works teams.
Yeah.
So,
but Aston Martin have been using Mercedes engines in their, I'll say road cars, but people either buy them for track days or posing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd buy an Aston Martin if I had the money, probably.
And you'd be a poser.
Would I?
Would you take that up, Jerby?
I wouldn't put it on the. Wouldn't put it on the track. No, if I had a nice GT car, I might drive around Europe in it.
Jerby, for anyone not from the Isle of Man, i.e. just about everybody, is our local track where they occasionally have track days where idiots go and take their Imprezas and Cosworths and kill the tyres.
Also where we have our local prison.
It's a very quick system. It's speed racer on the track, get in the prison. It's
where ITV did that documentary series a few years ago, and I think that's still available to watch on YouTube.
I think it is on YouTube.
The best little prison in Britain. We aren't all like that over here, I promise you.
The best little prison in Britain. That sounds like something made
some
up by
some of our
Armando
neighbours were in it, I think, weren't they? So some of our neighbours who had a bit of a fight not that long back. One of them was the big star of said documentary.
Not the one that borrowed the tinfoil.
No.
Shall we move on and talk about Aston Martin's chances a little?
So I've got an Aston Martin related question.
Okay.
To introduce, which is, I don't know if this is rhetorical or actually,
Is this a quiz?
Clever. Yeah, it's not a quiz.
We're about to find out.
So Honda have had a lot of influence over the junior driver program at Red Bull.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to have the same influence at Aston Martin? And if so, which driver does Yuki Tsunoda replace?
Yes.
Well, that's the thing, because apparently Honda aren't renewing Tsunoda's contract with them after this year.
Oh, okay. Well, that's that. Bye, Yuki.
But
Enjoy European Le Mans.
This was mooted a while back, wasn't it? As to would he potentially replace a retiring Alonso, or would it be a Stroll going off to go and do some Aston,
like that new Valkyrie that just
endurance stuff
started in IMSA.
Or some tennis, that's always an option.
But yeah, it looks like Yuki's not going to be part of the Honda program at the end of this season.
See, that's a shame. I do think that Red Bull picked the wrong driver. Maybe in the long term they might have picked the right driver, but I think Yuki more than deserved a shot at the big team.
Yeah.
And if he does 5 years at the little team and not get his shot, I think that's a waste of talent.
Oh no, he's capable of getting some good results. And when the car's half decent, he's good.
He's not consistent. He's never been consistent. He's not bad.
The problem is, though, the Racing Bull, RB, AlphaTauri, Toro Rosso, call it what you want, has also never been consistent.
Yeah, I mean, did he have back-to-back DNSs at some point, either last year or the year before, where just the car was just like, nah, not today?
Yeah. Yeah, he struggled with the car that, in all honesty, keeps forgetting it's a car.
Yeah, I don't think he's one for he's not Prost, he's not Lauda, he's not, saying, right, this is exactly what he's doing with the car, this is how I can improve the team, this, that and the other. But do Aston Martin need someone like that? Would it be nice if Honda kept his funding to see if there was an alternative for a decent driver down the pipeline? Because now, I know that I've not been the biggest champion of Felipe Drugovich in the past.
Really? Never noticed.
But I would say that next year, if Felipe Drugovich is not in an F1 car, that will be his 4th year outside of a single-seater racing series full-time.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to lose some experience doing that. Not necessarily all of it, but a little bit. So say Alonso does finish 14th this year and goes, sod it, sod everything, sod you. I'm off. I'm 45. I fancy doing whatever Alonso does in his spare time. I don't know.
The Indy 500.
Deleting emails. Yeah, the Indy 500. That makes more sense.
He probably has a person to do emails for him.
Yeah, Pedro de la Rosa. So whatever he does, I think it's worth having someone, set up, ready to go, who's experienced in F1, who's been semi-decent, and who is a free agent. If that is Yuki Tsunoda next year, I think Aston Martin should take him, regardless of whether Honda's involved or not.
And
but knowing Lawrence Stroll, he'll try and reanimate the corpse of Fangio before he goes for an actual decent current driver.
I know we'll come on to this in a bit as well, but there are 2 new free agency seats as well next year, so free agents are going to be in demand.
Now, Ayumu Iwasa, I only got the first name because I'm reading it, is still on the Honda program.
Yes. It's bad news for Kieran, because if he gets a drive, he's going to have to learn how to say his name.
I've survived this long in my dad knowing that Liam Lawson's an F1 driver without getting a text every weekend.
Can I give a Drive to Survive spoiler just quickly?
Yep.
I don't know if anybody's...
We've not watched it since Alonso joined Aston Martin, so I think we're beyond spoilers.
Yeah. So there's an episode in this season which has just come out. So I'm really sorry if anybody has not got this far yet. It's the episode with Haas. So and their fight for 6th in the championship, and they're talking to Io Komatsu, whatever his name is.
I'm immediately off the hook.
Yeah, your man who leads Haas.
Yeah, not Steiner.
No, not Gunter Steiner. And they're talking to him about why he's his name is Io. Like is it difficult for people to say? He's like, people always found my name difficult to say. At uni, my mates called me Johnny 5. Bearing in mind, he went to university in Coventry.
Brilliant.
So we could be seeing him in green next year then. So we'll have to start calling him Johnny 5 then.
Io Komatsu, I don't think so.
No, yeah,
sorry, I thought you were talking about Iwasa for a second.
No.
I zoned out. So Aston Martin, we're deciding thoroughly meh.
Yeah, I see them 7th or 8th in the title this year.
I think there'll be one.
Throwing
I think
everything on 26.
Yeah, I think there'll
Sorry,
be
Sean.
one that I think there'll be a few of these, but I think there'll be one that's just very quickly gives up development when they know they're not really in it for anything.
Yeah.
Are we going to get bored angry Alonso again this season?
Ooh,
really
probably.
hope we do.
But just as long as someone puts their arm around Lonzo and says, "This is all about next year. Please don't leave."
I think that's what they were saying to him in 2025 when the Honda was a pile of crap.
Yeah.
That went
And
well.
Someone also needs to turn around to Alonso. Not Alonso. Someone needs to turn around to the general public when Alonso finishes his first 4 races out of the points and say, Alonso hasn't necessarily lost it. The car is a bit crap. Because I hate these podcasters, I tell you, these F1 podcasters. They jump on any small thing. And there will be a run where Alonso doesn't do very well and everyone's going to go, he's over the hill. And it might not be the case. It might just be that, the car's rubbish.
I mean, the thing is, Adrian Newey's had 0 input to this year's car at the start, and he's probably going to have very little input on the car for the rest of the year. Then again, he is sleeping in the factory, so he might be pulling 24-hour shifts, actually trying to get a couple of extra kilometres an hour out of it.
Yeah, you see the tweet from, is it Amanda Newey?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, saying that, I'll see you in 5 years, husband, or something like that.
Right. The big move, then. Ferrari. Has Lewis, bearing in mind we've not actually seen him take to the track in anger, has he made the biggest mistake of his career, or made an incredible move, because that is the only way that it's going to be. They're the only terms it's going to be described in.
Well, it depends how Ferrari's season, how successful Ferrari's season is. If they're fighting for the title, and it's Charles Leclerc who just to back up a little bit, I think Charles Leclerc probably will outscore Lewis Hamilton in this season, purely because Charles has been there for a long time. He's a great driver. He's capable of winning a world championship if the opportunity is presented to him. If Ferrari are fighting for the world championship and it's Leclerc more than Hamilton, then that's going to look like Hamilton has had a bad season. And I don't necessarily think it'll be the case. I think he's probably going to get podiums, possibly a few wins. If Ferrari aren't fighting for the championship and they've just won the Winter World Championship by saying everything's fantastic again, which, let's be honest, is exactly what Ferrari do nearly every year, then I think that's where Lewis Hamilton might almost, it's sort of 6 of one, half dozen the other. He might get off scot-free by being like, well, Ferrari were actually very good, so Hamilton's made a bad choice by going to Ferrari. But that he won't get the heat on him as such, whereas if Ferrari are successful, I think the heat will be on him, because I don't think this is Hamilton's year. This is his get his feet under the table year at Ferrari, waiting for the big rule change in 26. Not forgetting that he's doing at Ferrari basically what he did at Mercedes, which was move the year before the big change, so you got a year to assimilate yourself with everything and get used to everybody, how the team works, how the car works, and then with the rule change, then hit the ground running and see if you can fight for the title against your teammate.
Yeah.
That's what he's gambled on. I mean, he gambled on it previously and it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that he was a lot more comparable to Rosberg, but I'm not sure he's as comparable to Leclerc, who's firmly got his feet under the table at Ferrari. I think for me, in the short term, it's a good move. I think that Ferrari will be better than Mercedes this year. I don't think Ferrari are going to win a title this year, and I think if they do, it won't be Lewis. It will probably be Leclerc, for reasons I was saying just now. But my concern is that next year, knowing how good Mercedes are after not 2022 notwithstanding, how good Mercedes are after a new cycle of technical regulations, I think that's the year when Mercedes might be back at the front. But who's to say that Lewis would have been world champion in 2026 if Mercedes were a dominant force? That just as easily, maybe more likely, would have been Russell.
Yeah, I mean, we've joked about the Ferrari strategy team, pulling numbers out of the bingo machine for what plan they're going to run this week.
Yeah.
And we've heard over the last sort of 2 or 3 seasons, Carlos Sainz has not been the biggest fan of the strategists while the race has been going on. And for the most part, Carlos doesn't complain a lot during races, apart from when the strategy goes tits up, and he knows better.
Even
because,
then as well, it's not a big sort of, there's not a lot of sort of bluster with it, is there? It's a very much, no, we're doing this instead.
Now, Lewis is passionate, dedicated, and vocal, I think is the best way to describe it.
Yes, those are all fair.
And if the slightest thing goes on that he thinks, he's not afraid to call bullshit. Now, if Ferrari end up going prime Ferrari,
it's not going to go down well, is it?
Yeah, this is going to be the test of Lewis Hamilton's temperament. Can he be quick and angry, and then have to be very diplomatic at the end of it?
I think we have seen that in the past, haven't we? There have been times at Mercedes when things have gone wrong, and then he's been diplomatic at the end.
Yeah, there's been times, but this could be happening on almost a weekly basis.
I don't know if it's a test for Lewis as much as it's a test for Ferrari, because we have seen, as Chris said, we've seen him be very, very sort of aggy on the radio, and then afterwards, absolutely fine. And I think Bono in particular, I think, was quite used to dealing with that. He knows that's just Lewis in race mode.
Yeah.
whether or not new person at Ferrari, new team, new set of mechanics can, isolate that and not be like, what's this new guy calling us shit for? That could be interesting. He could potentially alienate the team quite quickly if he's that guy on the radio.
No, this is going to be an interesting one to follow, I think.
I don't think that we're going to get fireworks from Ferrari and especially Lewis in the first half of the season. I think he is going to take his time to bed in, and he will be, of the top 4 teams, the top 8 drivers, of the ones who are staying in their seat this year, he will probably be the furthest back one. So Antonelli, Lawson, and then maybe Lewis. But if he does get his feet under the table, if he does like it, then we might see a bit of a different Lewis Hamilton this time.
Yeah, I don't think he's necessarily going to be that far back. I mean, he's going to fit at some point. He's going to find himself behind Carlos Sainz because that's just how Formula One works. Whatever. They'll find themselves sharing the same piece of track, and Sainz will be ahead, and they'll be like, "Oh, how ironic!" Or more likely is impossibly even in Australia is that Antonelli finishes ahead of Hamilton.
Yeah,
and Kieran, you said before that you think that Ferrari are ahead of Mercedes. I don't know. I don't know if this is like a Ferrari Winter World Championship thing again. Like I said before, like Mercedes were consistent throughout the test. They weren't spectacular. I don't think they ever were like right at the top. I think Russell was at the top of the timing board on the last day for quite a long time.
Yeah, they had a tricky first day, or certainly a first morning. I think Russell only got something like 10 laps in. There were quite a few problems with his car.
Yeah, it's looking sort of where you are sort of at the end of the test really, and I think Mercedes were consistent and were strong. They seemed to know where they were. They even Ted's testing notebook. He asked Bradley Lord when Bradley Lord was leaving the Mercedes. He said, "Where do you think you are?" And he said, "Somewhere behind McLaren, possibly third." So they could be behind Ferrari, but I think they're the contenders. I think Mercedes and Ferrari will be the big fight to watch for this season. And yeah, as I say, George Russell will be ahead of Lewis Hamilton at some point. Kimi Antonelli will be ahead of Lewis Hamilton at some point. I do think the potential is there. I think Hamilton himself has said that he's reinvigorated. The potential is there for Lewis Hamilton to win races. But then, it is such on a knife edge at the moment, pre-season, where one thing goes wrong or one team finds something that clicks, and all of a sudden Ferrari go from being like, "Oh, we were quite close to McLaren, the second best team," and all of a sudden they're like fourth. So, behind Mercedes and Red Bull, it could quite easily happen, as it could for any of the other teams as well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Look at the start of last season with McLaren, where in the first race they weren't on the podium. In the second race, Norris finished behind Ollie Behrman on debut, 18 years old.
Yeah.
McLaren have their days where they're either the best car suited to the track perfectly, or they are 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th.
Yeah.
That falls behind all of those people.
I mean, of course, the big thing is always, wait until the European season starts, and that's when the upgrades come in. But the European season starts a quarter of the way through this year, and are there going to be the upgrades?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there will be some, but I don't think it will ever be...
Not as many as we've seen in other years. It's... Like I say, I don't like to use the term lame duck season, but I guess it kind of is a bit.
It will be for some, won't it? There will be some teams who, just. It's
but at the same time, sorry, Sean.
I was going to say it's just not in their interest, is it, to throw everything into this year when they could steal a bit of a march on next year?
Yeah, I agree. At the same time, though, I think that's going to give us one of the best seasons we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really, really tight. I know a lot of people are saying post testing that I know we're currently talking about Ferrari, but I mean, people thinking that McLaren, generally speaking, are at the head of the field with Ferrari, Mercedes, and then probably on pace Red Bull. But then Red Bull didn't have a good test. Red Bull had a very bad test, actually.
Least laps of anybody.
Yeah, least laps of anybody. Verstappen didn't do a fast run. Verstappen didn't do a race run. He did do a fast run. So, it's...
it's all over the shop.
But Red Bull are the kind of team who can go away for 2 weeks, analyze the data, and be like, okay, so that's what we need to fix, and then turn up in Melbourne and put both cars on the front row.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something that Mercedes used to do during testing, wasn't it? That in 2018, 2019 or so, they go, oh, maybe they're behind Ferrari, maybe they're behind Red Bull, and then they do 9 1-2s in a row or something in the first 9 races.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah. It is very much a leaders, a winners aspect that you don't. Once you know you've got a good car, you don't need to do amazing things in testing. That said, I don't think that's what Red Bull were doing this year. I don't think anyone thinks that's what Red Bull were doing this year.
I think Red Bull might think they were doing that this year, or claim it in public anyway. After mentioning lame ducks, we've actually got Haas next, who were the last team to have the lame duck season in 2021.
Oh.
When they had the spinning shed, I think you could call it.
Oh, was that the Mazepin year?
It was the Mazepin year.
It's a great credit to Mick Schumacher that no one remembers it as the Mick Schumacher year.
Yes.
Did anybody see that Mazepin Senior was actually at the paddock, or was it at Abu Dhabi possibly, and then has been hanging around FIA events since. He has a 10-year-old son who's apparently quite handy in a go-kart.
Oh.
Yeah, he's been hanging around with Alpine, hasn't he? He was at the test with Alpine.
Oh, was it the testing? Was it? That's what I've seen him at. Yeah.
There's 2 connections there. Firstly, Ollie Oakes, the team principal now at Alpine, was the team principal of High Tech in F2, which was the team which was minority owned by, is it Dimitri Mazepin?
Yes.
I think that's him. Yeah.
Might have been racist. I think it's Dimitri, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Dimitri Mazepin. And then there's the second factor as to why the Mazepins are hanging around at Alpine and not another team, and that's called Flavio Briatore, who just one of those people, like Bernie, who just somehow, like gravity, sucks in the most evil people in the world.
What's the saying? A man is known by the company he keeps.
Yeah. He keeps some bad company, that man.
It's an interesting lineup at Haas this year, though, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tall lineup.
Yes. I mean, they have the second most experienced rookie on the grid this season. This just sounds wrong.
First full season for Oliver Behrman.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, he did 2 different cars last year.
Yeah, he was an emergency call-up on 3 occasions last year.
Yes.
And
one ban and 2 illnesses.
Yes.
Yeah, so we only had 1 full weekend, and I think he performed relatively well on that full weekend. The standing in for Magnussen at Brazil didn't go well because he'd never driven a Formula 1 car in the wet before, and he only had to jump in last minute on a Saturday. Having said that, that's what he did when Sainz was ill on Saudi Arabia in the Ferrari at the second race of the season, and he finished 7th. So
yeah,
interesting. A lot of potential in Ollie Behrman, and I still rate Esteban Ocon quite highly as a driver. I just think he doesn't play well with others.
No, that's the thing. There was, I think it was Autosport had an article. Just how bad a teammate is Ocon anyway?
That's not a confidence-filling headline.
It's
is it?
fair though, isn't it? Because he doesn't seem to get on very well with the teammates.
It was actually called "Is Esteban Ocon a bad teammate?" But I read it the other way around, and I think that's better. Yeah, because he's proved doesn't play well with others.
No, Pascal Wehrlein didn't get on very well with.
No. Perez kept driving into him.
Exactly, yeah. Had many on-track collisions with Perez. Then where did he go from there? Was he jobless for a year before he went somewhere else?
There was some point where Ricciardo, not as his teammate, was like, yeah, I can't be doing with this guy.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to piss off Ricciardo.
Were they teammates at Renault?
I think they would have been, yeah.
Yeah.
There was the bit where Verstappen punched him.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a shove, I think, wasn't it, rather than a full-on punch? But yeah.
Sort of chest shove.
He's a popular
It
guy.
did cost Verstappen that win, though, didn't he? Let's be fair.
Yeah, well, yes.
But yeah, I mean, Ocon doesn't, and then Gasly, they've had history going back to when they were kids. They're from the same area of France, and they literally grew up together. And they stated quite clearly, and we don't get on very well, but we've got to work as teammates.
No, they did the whole we're friends again now, which didn't last.
It was Monaco, wasn't it, last year, where they collided quite heavily.
Yes, it would have been. Yeah.
And it was like straight after that, it was like the announcement is that Ocon's leaving the team. It's like, oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yes, of course, he tried... what was it? He tried to... I think Ocon tried to do a pass when he'd been told not to and nearly put Gasly in orbit.
He tried to overtake a Portier, which you only have to go deep into the history of Jenson Button's last ever race, but it doesn't really work.
Funnily enough, against Pascal Wehrlein.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And Pascal Wehrlein was against that false wall.
Yes.
Yes.
So, yeah, Ocon's probably going to try and run the rule over Behrman this year.
If he doesn't, it's not a good look, though, is it? Because obviously he's very much the more experienced driver compared to Behrman, so he should be sort of by far and away running away with it.
Yeah.
The problem is, though, it's Haas and it's the year before a regulation change. I don't think it's going to be running. I think it's going to be sort of hopping. I mean, I know Gene Haas is spending money at the moment, which it's something novel for the team because that's not usually happened before.
Was it something crazy like there's been a 2,000% increase in Haas's main CNC work in their factory since the Formula One team was created? So it's a massive marketing tool for the actual engineering company itself,
which is all it was basically set up to be, because that's what the NASCAR team was there for as well.
Yeah, so I mean, for Gene Haas, he has to throw money at it, but so many people recognize Haas machines now and are buying them into their own factories. So, it's worked really well from a business point of view. But is that all that this team is? Should it really be a sport where they are pushing hard to better themselves and better their results and really get back to where? Well, I say get back to where they were, but I mean, get back to where the early days of Haas when they were scoring points on a consistent basis. Let's be honest, their first season, they surprised us all. We sat here and said, an American team joining Formula One is never going to score points in its first season. And they did it in their first race.
Yeah. And then, because of the lack of funding and the lack of development, they kind of dropped off for the rest of the season. And that looked like it was going to become their story. And it was going to be their thing. And then
Did they score points in their first race?
Yeah, Roman Grosjean got fifth,
yeah.
I think, or sixth in their first race.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't have been Gutierrez, would it?
No.
Oh, Gutierrez he upside downed Alonso, didn't he?
He did.
Or rather, Alonso upside downed himself on Gutierrez.
Yeah,
Is that that race?
still getting voted as one of the most spectacular crashes in F1 that didn't involve Jacques Villeneuve. Just going to step away from Haas for a minute because we have to talk about Jacques Villeneuve's latest exploit that came out today. Managed to lock himself in a toilet in Milan airport for 30 minutes. And then had to kick down the door to get out because emergency services couldn't free him. And then caved a bit of the roof in as well while he was taking the door out.
I mean, they probably realised it was Jacques Villeneuve and haven't forgiven him for let's be honest, spaffing Michael Schumacher off the track at Jerez 97.
Yeah, because nowadays the one that gets hit, it's always their fault.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Poor Russia.
We went with spaff in there, did we?
Yes.
Yes.
We did. Stand by that comment.
Someone driving past going, "Ha, you've been spaffed." You've been tangoed.
I'll use that. I'll use that in the next race where I drive past somebody stuck in the barrier. Then again, it's usually me. So,
I've been spaffed.
So which?
Yeah, he had to kick down the door.
Yeah, he kicked down the door from the inside.
It's wonderful.
Sounds very Jacques Villeneuve, doesn't
Yes.
it?
Yeah, I said off air. If you said to me which world champion got stuck in a toy, you don't have to get to let before I go Jacques Villeneuve.
I mean, I'm not saying he's the kind of person that could lock himself in his own. Yeah, I am.
I don't know. I don't know, Kieran. I might have guessed Nico Rosberg.
Yeah, but it's only because Rosberg probably took the opportunity to record a LinkedIn live video saying, "Well, there's other ways to get out of the toilet." To quote my friend Jake Humphrey.
Anyone listen to one of Jake Humphrey's new, what was it, maximum performance shows yet?
No.
No, high performance.
Yeah,
I've seen him posting about it, but yeah, no, it hasn't drawn me in.
No, anyone even got the vaguest desire to listen to it?
No.
This is what I normally take one for the team, which is why I've got a box full of supplements in the cupboard. But I'm not taking that one for the team.
I will happily take a box of those. I liked them.
Yeah, I don't mind Jake Humphrey generally, but yeah, no, the podcast has not drawn me in at all.
Yeah, he was talking about his daily routine and comparing it to the Mark Wahlberg. Get up at 3 a.m. 2 hours before you've gone to bed to meditate.
Is he practicing for the Australian Grand Prix, is he? How early you have to get up.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to that this weekend. But back to what the grid is going to look like. Which Haas are we going to see? Points Haas or Mazepin era Haas?
Somewhere in between.
Yeah, I'm with Sean. Yeah, absolutely. I think we're somewhere in between. A development year for Behrman, because let's be honest, I don't think he's in one of those years where he probably could afford to have more races like he did in Brazil rather than he did in Saudi and still be okay, because, they're not going to be up there fighting for wins or podiums or major points or anything. And Ocon is a sort of on a much smaller scale, is having a Lewis Hamilton year of feet under the table, see how this team works, where can we go for 26, what direction can I push this car into my advantage?
Yeah.
All right, that brings us to McLaren. Reigning Constructors Champions.
That's nice to hear.
It is. The other team with no driver lineup changes.
Yes.
And do we think it's going to be more of the same this year? Chance of a slightly patchy start and then...
Yeah, it does look like it, doesn't it? It looks like they're going to be quick off the blocks, which is exactly what Andrea Stella wanted. He knows they were a bit slow to get away in 24, and he knows that cost them the shot at the Drivers' Championship. I think last time we did a podcast, I said that I had actually put money on Oscar Piastri to win the World Championship this year. So that is, I am... Just because of Oscar's trajectory, you tend to find that drivers reach a level and then they kind of stay at that level for a bit, and then they either drop off and they sort of disappear out of the sport a little bit, or they reach that level. They spend a year there at the top team, and then they push on and they become this this really great driver for however long, whether it's multiple years or for a couple of years, they really hit their peak. I think Oscar is about to push on to hit his peak, and when he's not at his peak, he's kind of on Lando Norris's level. And I think he's got further to go than Lando has. I don't know. I think both of them could win the championship. I just hope they're not fighting against each other, and that somebody else comes in the back door and steals a championship off them. Like Alonso Hamilton fighting in 2007, and then Raikkonen came in the back door and was like, "Yay, I've won a championship, everyone." The glorious irony of that being Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari this time around. Imagine if he were to steal the championship because the two McLaren drivers were fighting.
How much have I got in my Sky Bet account? What can I get? Oh,
Ooh.
yeah, I've just looked at the odds for the championship. I think Piastri is undersold at 8-1. I think that's a good bet to have. As is George Russell at 12-1.
Yeah, I would say so too. Because it really depends. Any of those drivers, any of those 8 drivers in McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull, could win a championship this year. I mean, it's probably the unlikeliest of those 8 is probably Liam Lawson.
Yeah. According to Sky Bet, he's as equal as Kimi at 66-1.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah, I will put Antonelli then the next one up from that possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe Antonelli's least likely. Actually, thinking about it, I don't know.
I mean, Antonelli is the great unknown.
Yeah, completely.
I think
At least we know a
Antonelli-
little bit about Liam Lawson.
Antonelli has a better chance of being allowed to beat his teammate than Lawson. Within the team he's in.
Lawson will not be allowed to beat his team.
Yeah.
Can you name for me the 4 drivers who are 2,000-1?
Oh, this is a good game.
Bortoletto.
4 drivers.
Bortoletto's a good shot. Hadjar.
No.
Really?
Hadjar is he's odds-on favourite at 1,000-1.
Oh, dang. Okay. Sonoda.
No.
Fuck's sake.
500-1.
Look at me naming all the favourites. Hulkenberg.
2,000-1. Yes, correct. So Bortoletto and Hulkenberg. Which other 2 drivers?
Got to be Doohan.
Doohan, yep, 2,000-1 because he'll get sacked 5 races in.
And Ollie Behrman.
Wow.
at a cool 1,000-1 is not 2,000-1.
Franco Colapinto.
No, he's not on the list.
So it's only the 20 drivers that have contracts on the list.
Yes.
Is it Lance Stroll?
Yes.
Yay!
Oh my, that's amazing.
Hadjar and Behrman at 1,000-1, but have gone Lance Stroll. No, he only wins this if we run the championship 2,000 times.
Wow.
Bloody hell. So basically, what you're saying is Sky Bet have got about as much faith in Lance Stroll as everybody.
Yeah, well, to
except
be
his
honest,
dad.
I might have put a quid on Bortoletto over Lance Stroll.
So, yeah, I mean, this one could be Piastri's year. He's been saying that this is what he's going for, and this is this is his aim for this season to take the title. Things could get tricky if him and Lance are round about the same pace.
Lando.
I'm gonna be talking about Lance now. Yeah,
Things would be very tricky if he and Lance Stroll were about the same pace. About the same pace. I think that would be very tricky for him.
There were a few occasions last year, Lando let Oscar past at your convenience in Hungary.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's never convenient.
There was little bits of potential niggle, and this could get exacerbated if the McLaren is the quickest car on the track this year.
Yeah, I think that this year is a lot more dangerous for the Lando-Oscar relationship than it was last year when they first realised they probably could win some races.
Yeah.
I think this is a lot more worrisome.
Yeah, much like the cars, when it really depends on how quick out the block they are. I think it's the same for the drivers. So should Oscar, win at Melbourne, as it would be his home race? Should Oscar win at Melbourne and then maybe finish ahead of Lando in one of the other two or three races after that? Then I think that shifts the dynamic a little bit. Whereas if Lando goes out and obliterates Oscar in the first couple of races, it's almost it's a psychological thing as much as anything, but not just for the drivers. The rest of the team will start thinking that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, so Lando is still the driver we should probably support more than Oscar. Whereas it's on Oscar to do better in the opening few races. I think there's another level to Oscar Piastri. Like I said before, I don't know that he's going to reach that this season. I just feel that he can go a little bit further. He's got another level to him, and he will eventually hit that level. But for how long, I'm not sure.
It's going to be an interesting career to follow because, he's still fairly new.
Mm.
So, it's going to be...
Yeah.
But a multiple race winner also.
Yeah. No, I think...
He has only raced 46 races, which if you said that 15 years ago, you'd say, oh, he's mid-career. But that's only 2 full seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that used to be 4 seasons.
Yeah.
This is his third season, isn't it? So,
Yeah. Right.
His trajectory is steep.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have Mercedes. As I already said, Kimi Antonelli, the great unknown. We didn't see the best of him in F2 last year, all season long, and there was a lot of questions being asked. Obviously, we don't get to see what the team sees.
No, we saw a lot of glimpses, though, didn't we? Like glimpses of brilliance, and then glimpses of utter stupidity. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Because I think, in fairness as well, we didn't see the best of Oliver Behrman in F2 last year.
No, we did not.
Mainly because he couldn't concentrate on it, because he kept getting dragged away to be in an F1 race.
I think they kind of made a target for Behrman as well, didn't they? Because once he'd done a couple of Formula One races, I think he was he confirmed before Antonelli as well? So it'd be everybody
Possibly,
in F2 wanted to beat the guy who had done the F1 race. So I think he found himself in battles he really shouldn't have been having, and probably would have avoided had he not been called up. Whereas I think Antonelli, he won a couple of races, didn't he? I think in F2 last year.
Yeah.
But he had a similar thing. He got a few tangles after he was confirmed as a Mercedes driver. I don't think they were tangles he would have gotten involved in had he not been announced until the close of the season.
Yeah, but everybody wanted to go. The other thing is with Behrman, when his luck is bad, it is absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are talking Johnny Herbert levels of bad luck. Like, sorry, mate, box and retire, we've left a spanner in the footwell. I'm interested to see how Antonelli does, because there's a massive spotlight on him. He's coming into a team that has dropped off from winning everything over the last few years. He's replaced one of the best drivers ever in this team. And he's only 18. How the hell is he going to cope with this? He must have some great people working with him.
I think yeah. Go on, Kieran.
He gets a freebie season in my mind. Cheers. I think he gets away with this one. He gets one season to turn around and go, he's 18, before you get to go, he is 19, though.
And he's done a season already.
Yeah.
The expectation is on Russell to beat him as well.
Yeah. Arguably, it's more pressure on Russell. I reckon Russell would rather have had Lewis Hamilton at 40 years old in 2025 than Antonelli, because Lewis is a known entity and he knows that he can park that entity if he wants to. I slightly tangentific. A spoiler alert also for Drive to Survive, but the thing which wound me up when watching the third episode last night, we've only seen 3 so far, was that they focused on Spa last year, which as we all remember at Spa, it was a 2-stop strategy generally, but Russell decided to keep his hards on and do a 1-stop, and he excitingly held off Lewis Hamilton and Oscar Piastri for the win. And straight after that race, Toto Wolff took him upstairs to the balcony and said, "We've seen some amazing things from you. We believe you can lead the team. Wonderful, that's great. We're going to sign Antonelli as well. That's wonderful. Credits." That's what happened.
They failed to mention the disqualification.
They didn't mention the fact he got disqualified whatsoever.
They failed to mention the fact that Lewis stopped twice.
I caught a video on YouTube where they were ranting about it today, and it's like, I really don't want to watch this season now.
It's bad. It is bad.
Like I said, we've not watched any of last season at all. We're still midway through the season before and haven't found our way back to it somehow. So
the NASCAR one that they did last year was actually quite good. The one about the playoffs.
I've not seen that.
Yeah, you have.
Have I?
Yeah.
Okay, that maybe gives it my review then. I do not recall that being on.
Right.
That was a conversation exactly like my dad and my stepmom would have. When my dad would say, "You remember the first series of Colin from Accounts? I never watched it. Yes, you did."
I may have been in the room when it was on. That doesn't equate watching it.
Right, the other thing that could be troubling Mercedes this season is either financial worries or a potential change of partial ownership.
Oh, yeah.
Because 33% of the Mercedes team is owned by Ineos, who are notoriously running out of cash. If all the stories coming out of another sporting organisation that they own a chunk of is to be believed. Because Manchester United are cutting back on everything to save money, because they are in a... and Ineos are in a massive financial hole as well. They've just pulled their sponsorship of the New Zealand All Blacks rugby union team 2 years early. Because
Jim Ratcliffe has said today that Manchester United, had they not stepped in, Manchester United would have run out of money at the end of 2025.
The problem is Ineos are also running out of money by the accounts of the same people that are saying Man United are running out of money.
Yeah, and it's conspicuously not on the car.
Yeah.
Ineos, I mean, there's no Ineos on the car anyway.
There's no Man United or All Blacks on the car.
And they didn't reveal the renders of the Mercedes car straight away on the night of the O2 thing like everyone else did. They waited like a week, probably because someone's quickly scrubbed off the Ineos thing on the car and gone, oh shit, the renders.
Do we? Who could step in to buy that third of Mercedes?
Don't forget Toto owns a third, doesn't he?
Yeah. So the Chrysler Group, or whatever name they're going under at the moment, owns a third. Toto owns a third, and Jim Radcliffe / Ineos own the other third.
The Daimler Group, isn't it? Mercedes.
Yes.
Daimler. I think the word Daimler.
Daimler.
Yes.
For a
Daimler. Yeah.
So, could we
Elon
see?
Musk.
Oh, I'm just going to... No.
Sorry.
Absolutely not.
Sorry, I was possessed by the spirit of our ex-co-host there for a second.
So yeah, we could see boardroom struggles coming in. Now, what usually happens is when an organisation buys into an already successful F1 team, they tend to want to put their stamp on it straight away and start to take over too much. All we've got to say is the Lawrence Stroll Group at Williams. And look how well that went.
Is the proposition here that Lawrence Stroll now buys a third of Mercedes?
No, but if somebody comes in and buys a third of Mercedes and acts like Lawrence Stroll did when he was at Williams...
What's Nicholas Latifi's dad up to?
Paying for him to go through college to do a MBA.
Does he still own some McLaren, though, or is he back in the market for buying stuff?
I don't know if he's sold his McLaren shares, so he might be. Oh God, that could mean we get Latifi back in a car.
There you go.
He was worth $250 million, wasn't he?
He's big rich, him.
Just Googling market value of Nutella.
Nutella?
36 billion. No, you have to settle for... Because Latifi loved Nutella, and he said in an interview, if there's one thing that you would change about your life, what would it be? And it was something like, my dad buys the company Nutella as opposed to make me a Formula 1 driver, which is probably why Nicholas Latifi was permanently 20th.
Sat there with a Nutella and a spoon.
He'd be chasing down 19th place, like in Tom and Jerry. Instead of a car, it's a steak. Instead of a car, it's a jar of Nutella.
Talking of drivers that are in equal discussion for the role of the GOAT, Logan Sargent has apparently given up racing.
Yes.
Didn't know he'd started.
Oh no, come on. That's a little harsh.
Very unfair on
He
me.
wasn't very good at Formula 1, let's be honest. I mean, he went back to America to sort of he was in for an IndyCar seat, wasn't he? And then
he was
about doing
linked
something
to
else.
it, and I don't think he ever actually got as far as sitting in one.
Oh no, he did a test.
Did he do a test? I missed that.
He did do a test.
It clearly went well.
Yeah. You missed that. You obviously weren't a barrier then. He announced last week that he's taking a step back from racing.
I'll have you know that you're speaking about South Florida RMAX Challenge championship winner 2011, Logan Sargent.
Of course, yeah.
I mean,
He's done something with his life.
That could actually qualify for the Race of Champions at some point, alongside Super GT winner Heikki Kovalainen.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
2008 Hungarian Grand Prix winner, Heikki Kovalainen.
Yeah, but that wasn't a championship.
And
No.
also, he only won that because Massa broke down 4 laps from home.
It's all right. Massa will sue and try and get the win restored. Oh, that's getting thrown out of court by the looks of things.
Yeah, that's probably for
Oh,
the
is
best.
that being chucked again?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the main piece of sort of contra evidence, because the whole thing rests on the Singapore Grand Prix, is Massa driving off with the fuel hose attached.
Yeah, it didn't help his cause, did it?
Well, it's like when people say we should sue the FIA and get Lewis the 2021 championship. Go, yes, okay. And how are you going to explain Azerbaijan?
Brake magic?
Yeah. Yeah. Chemtrails.
Oh, I'm binging.
You should not be binging.
I should not be binging. I
No,
just had a reminder
no
that
binging.
7 years ago today we were at Hard Rock Hell.
Oh, okay.
Right, so Mercedes Skint. Next up, to give them their full name, as we have to do from their intro video, is the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls F1 team, powered by Honda.
I am actually interested to see how Isaac Hadjar does in this team. He was been pretty decent in Formula 2. In, let's be honest, what was a really strong field of Formula 2 drivers. And yeah, I think he's probably I don't think Tsunoda's going anywhere near that Red Bull unless Lawson is awful in the first 3 races of this year.
I think Hadjar's got more chance of getting in the Red Bull than Tsunoda if Lawson gets binned mid-season.
I don't know. I'm not sure about that. It depends how Hadjar does. If Hadjar's amazing, then yeah, absolutely. But I think Hadjar is long-term replacement, isn't he? He's the next in line. He's the Jean-Eric Verne.
And this went so well for
how did
Jean-Eric
that
Verne.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, seems like a fairly decent young man. Decent, quick racer. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does in Formula 1, especially against his teammate Yuki Tsunoda, who I am surprised to learn this is his 5th season in Formula 1.
Mm. Yeah, pandemic was a long time ago.
Yeah. And the thing is with
pandemic memories is watching Yuki Tsunoda in F2. Sorry, Paul.
With Hadjar and Tsunoda being in the same team and their liveliness, shall we say, on team radio.
Oh, yes.
This is the team that is paying for the FIA's Christmas party this year.
Well, we need to find out what happens to... No, I mean, let's not go down that road. I'm going to say we need to find out what happens to the fines first. I mean, where do they go? Are they just pocketing it all?
Yeah, well, the WRC Drivers Association are asking these questions as well.
I think it's a fair
And the
question.
GDPA did as well. Isaac Hadjar is an entertaining young man on the radio.
Yes.
Yes,
yeah.
very much.
Was it
yeah.
Monaco?
last
Yeah.
year. And he got mugged for his win. And the team dared say congratulations or something, and then a minute-long rant saying, "No, you do not say congratulations. No. In fact, you say sad for you, Isaac, sad for you." Enter it into the batters.
Yeah, so I mean, if Hadjar and Tsunoda find themselves battling on track together, and neither of them are willing to give up the place to the other, we should get some very tasty team radio.
Yeah, and I think we'll get some very crunched up cars as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Hadjar's reactions, especially that was Monaco, wasn't it? Where you got there's somebody going slow in the tunnel, and I mean, he should have got a bloody medal for that. To be fair,
yeah, I mean that was.
I don't have him down as a crasher from.
No, but
FT.
I think he's a racer. He's not going to be crashy, but if him and Tsunoda are roughly the same pace, I don't think either of them will back down. if they're both going for the same bit of track,
Yeah.
this is where I'm thinking we'll see sparks. You know, we'll hear them on the radio and we'll see them on track because they will both go full on, get your elbows out. And to be honest, I think that'll be a good thing to see. I mean, it's more likely to happen in that team because, you know, they want a gladiatorial combat for their entertainment.
Yeah. I think that RB Racing Balls, Visa Cash App rate. Well, technically, I mean that's not even their full name, is it? You'd have to say
Buy one get one free.
Yeah, verified important stamp approval, whatever it stands for. Cash application Racing Balls. Wrong Visa. But no, I reckon that's a relationship which is comparable to Ferrari, where you've got someone who's got their feet underneath the table and you've got someone new. And will the new person challenge the person with their feet under the table? I don't know. It's just different because it's going to be for 12th as opposed to 3rd. Very similar, though, I think, those two teams.
Yeah, it's been a thing. It's been a thing with the second Red Bull team all along that they seem to enjoy getting drivers up against each other who don't exactly get on. I mean, remember Max and Carlos in the same team.
Yeah. I mean, it's not exactly even what's going to happen on track either, really, with the V carb, if we're going to keep calling them that. But it's off track as well. Remember, because you've got the whole team. Is it this season? They moved to Milton Keynes. They're not going to be Italian based any longer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No. So the only team that's going to be based outside the UK is going to be Ferrari. Because even Cadillac are going to have a UK base. So, yeah, everything is moving under the campus, I believe, of Red Bull Racing. They're going to take over the little factory next door to where Red Bull are.
Oh, this may mean that somebody actually tries to get Yuki to eat mushy peas again.
Oh.
Going back to the last season of Drive to Survive that I think we actually watched. Yeah, they're a team very much in transition. I mean, they are splitting away from being the Red Bull Junior team and becoming a team in their own right. But they say this every couple of years and then sign a Red Bull Junior driver and either promote them or
and move in next door.
Yeah, now they either promote the junior driver or they send them to a farm in the country without a telephone. So I don't know. I do not know which direction they're going to go this year. Right, the main Red Bull team. Obviously, Max still there and a permanent fixture, and the most experienced rookie on the grid. Liam Lawson going into his first full but third overall season.
Yeah, but still somehow a rookie despite what? No, yeah, weird.
That came out in testing, didn't it? It said that they were saying that does he count as a rookie because he's done 11 races over 2 seasons or something? And someone was saying yes, he has to be a rookie.
Yeah.
And then someone else pointed out if he's a rookie, then Karun Chandok could win Rookie of the Year next year as well, because he's done 11 races over 2 seasons.
Excellent.
Yep, it's a good point.
Right, here's one for you. Liam Lawson is a rookie, but he's already done more races than F1 driver Alex Rossi.
Oh. Okay.
Rossi only did 7.
But technically,
Andre Lotterer.
he came in mid-season, didn't he? So technically, if Rossi found his way back to F1, it would be his rookie season. Or am I chatting shit there? I think he came in mid-season.
Not sure.
Let's have a look. 2, 3, 4, 5. I think he had 2 DNSs as well. Yeah, God knows. But, yeah, a rookie that, it's his rookie season, is about to start his 12th race.
Yeah.
All very confusing. Now, we've seen what Lawson can do. Had 2 decent stints in RB2s.
he's very used to Milton Keynes because he's lived there for a while, so he's sort of, at least he knows the Red Bull team, the Red Bull factory, the Red Bull people.
Do you get used to Milton Keynes, or do you get Stockholm syndrome?
Stockholm syndrome, definitely.
Can I use this opportunity in Patreon style to tell you about a dodgy takeaway we had from Milton Keynes last
Ooh,
night?
excellent.
Yes.
I mean, technically, it's from Bletchley, not Milton Keynes, which I don't know how to describe, really.
You have to decode your own takeaway. It took you the best part of 5 years to work out the phone number.
Well, funnily enough, Bletchley Park is just across the road from the train station. So, I mean, if only the Germans had gotten off the train at Bletchley, they would have found it.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting place, Bletchley. Firstly, we went shopping there. Wonderful food. There's lots of sort of supermarkets, international supermarkets. Great, right? The
Kieran, I
takeaway.
was going to interrupt you. Did you call Bletchley the thinking man's Milton Keynes?
on Instagram. I mean, I don't know how to describe this for American or international listeners. I guess it's like saying that, you know, New Zealand is the thinking man's Australia. I don't know. But yeah, Bletchley. So I don't know how it came up, but Jane and I were discussing Too Good To Go. Oh, I know how it came up, from the awful sweet incident from 4 months ago, which I can't remember if I mentioned on the podcast or to yourselves outside of it, where I ordered an American pancake box.
Yes.
And they gave that box to the other person who was
Oh,
queuing.
yes. Yeah, you
And
did
I
mention
got,
this, yeah.
I got her out-of-date sweet box with like 30 boxes of Mike and Ike's and Nerds and Kool-Aid. So we went on there and I can't remember, we were just looking around the things and we said, shall we get a takeaway from this tonight in Milton Keynes? There's 2 Indian places. And we went, yeah. So we went to one place and got their little starter kit, a little cold vegetable curry that we heated up. And then I'm going to send it into the group chat and I'll let one of you describe it for the listeners. We went to another place in Bletchley to get the main, and it costs, so Too Good To Go is this thing where to cut down on food waste on certain days and certain times, when they have the restaurants open, they'll give away the leftover food for like a fifth of the price. But you have to reserve it and then turn up at a specific time. So we turned up to a Sri Lankan restaurant in Bletchley, not far round, a little bit round the corner from Red Bull Powertrains, about half mile down the road. And we picked up our order. It took half an hour for them to box it because they didn't actually have any customers at all. So what they did was they made us a fresh meal instead of leftovers. So I was sat in the waiting room. In the waiting room, they had, and this is the thing you have seen on Instagram, Flood, the entertainment for people waiting was a nearly finished Rubik's Cube and 2 and it literally was like 8 yellow squares and 1 red square.
Wait a second. It's the next 2 pieces that got me intrigued.
And then a copy of the Metro newspaper from the 4th of March and a copy of the Metro newspaper from the 25th of February. So sat there waiting for it, thought, that's okay. Eventually, I'm going to have a lovely takeaway. This person is clearly cooking it from scratch.
Just to put a little footnote in there for anyone outside the UK, the Metro is a free newspaper that is given away on public transport.
Yes.
Mostly in London, rarely in Bletchley.
So it's travelled
which is
up.
about
It's
50
the
miles north of London.
We used to get
Again,
it.
I refer the train station.
We used to get it in Bradford.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's I used to get in Cambridge as well.
I think there is a Manchester version, I think, as well, isn't there?
So yeah, it does move around, I guess. But yeah, they spent half an hour cooking it. The woman came out, gave me a box. She went, "Sorry, I was late for work today." I was like, "Right, okay, I've got a takeaway. It cost me a £5." She said it's a mix of different things, sweet and savoury, and I've popped in some additional vegetables for you. Oh, thank you. The photo I'm about to send is the additional vegetables she popped in for me.
Kieran, you look enthused.
What is that?
That looks like a shaved fish finger.
It looks like either mashed potato or a pancake that's gone wrong.
It's a cod fillet with herbs au Provence, and I don't know what else on top of it. That's not additional vegetables.
No. Is it
Well, I would say
parsnip?
this
What
photo
is it?
doesn't do my moobs a very good justice. But also, the single vegetable is it called a cassava? Cavana?
Oh,
I don't know. That's
I'm
what they wrote
not
on it.
across that at all. I don't know what that is.
I have heard of cassavas.
It's like it's a parsnip which has been shaved and they put some pepper on it and didn't cook it.
Okay.
That
It looks
was
like a
our
sweet
little-
potato-y
our
kind
for
of thing.
a lovely little treat. Have some bonus veg. There you go. You've earned it, scamp. Now run along. Drive home 15 minutes. Open that and go. I want a refund from my £1.20 curry.
I now understand why Liam Lawson is so pissed off all the time.
That is my evidence that he is acclimatised to Milton Keynes because he's an angry young man.
Again, Drive to Survive, spoiler, but not really. Liam Lawson is very angry most of the time.
Excellent.
Oh no.
Right, moving on to, for the last time, Sauber, because they will be Audi next year.
It makes it sound like we're
Yeah,
just
I'm
intending to
surprised
not
that-
talk about them at all for the rest of the season.
Well, the general consensus from just about every commentator on the testing coverage is, yes, that's nice next.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, the car is a tiny evolution on last year's, and they are focusing fully on being under new management next season, which basically gives Bortoletto and Hulk a free pass.
Bortoletto is
Yeah.
much like Antonelli, we were saying before, maybe Isaac Hadjar as well. Kind of free pass this year anyway, especially when you're in a team where there's no pressure to do anything. If he wants to just push his own limits in a Formula One car and fuck up for the first half of the season, I think Sauber will be absolutely fine with that. They know that Bortoletto is a decent driver and that eventually he'll find his feet again, much like Hadjar. Massively impressive in a really tough Formula 2 field, but Hulkenberg's a known quantity.
Hulkenberg is also there for next year because Audi wanted a German driver.
Yeah, but he's also there, I think, to sort of build that car for 26 and beyond, I think, as well. But yeah, I don't know. Hulkenberg's not a long-term prospect, is he? Let's be honest. He's there to sort of build the team, put it in place, and then they'll get somebody else in, I would imagine. Probably 27, maybe 28. But Hulkenberg's done well to secure a seat at that team and become an Audi works driver. Audi have been successful in pretty much everything they've put their name to when it comes to motorsport. I'm sure they'll want to do the same with Formula One. However, I do think it's going to take a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to be one of these new teams that comes in and shocks everyone.
No,
They might be, but I mean, they're not. They won't be able to do that consistently over 24 races in a championship season.
No, I mean, also, there is talk of Audi coming back to WEC at some point.
I feel like this rears its head every year, though.
Yeah, now that they've got Hulk, though.
Oh, yes, of course, former 24 Hours of Le Mans winner.
Exactly.
Single-handedly,
Yes.
How many years have you been out of it?
When did Audi last take part?
Mid 2010, no, early 2010s, I want to say.
Oh, wow.
No, I would have said later than that. I would have said about 2016, 2017, maybe.
Let's have a look. Audi in motorsport. The last time they were in Le Mans was 2016 in an LMP1 and 2017 in a GT.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah, ripe time to come back. 10, 11, 12 years. Why not?
Yeah, I mean WEC are expanding, and there's a lot more teams in it now because I mean the top class was Toyota and the Token Glickenhaus entry. You know, we've now got eight teams in there, and now that Aston Martin are in, and there's probably still space for more on the grid. So, I think if Audi are getting back into coming back into Formula One in a bigger way than they have been before, I think this might be the spearhead of them returning to global motorsport.
Yeah, absolutely.
And having a Le Mans winner there, it's not going to harm the brand.
No.
And generally, when there's a financial downturn, that's when you start seeing manufacturers just start to pop out of their motor racing responsibilities. So we don't know what the next couple of years are necessarily going to hold. I know that it's not looking so strong in some departments, but I would like to think, I mean, of course, this is what essentially sunk Volkswagen taking over Red Bull, that and the whole diesel engine thing. I'd like to think that there is still strength in being able to advertise your brand in motorsport. I just don't know what that's going to look like in the next 5 years as well.
I mean, it depends which way motorsport goes in the next 5 years as well. Because I mean, if we look at next year, 50% of an F1 car is going to be powered by the MG UK.
Yeah.
So, traditional, if you want to call it that, motorsport is on its way out, and alternatives to, I'll say, full combustion power are going to be more and more. I mean, look, if you look at the hybrid system in the hypercars, that's now a four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Boost.
Yeah. It's cleaner fuels for Formula One as well, isn't it? Is that from next year?
Yeah, I think it's next year when the new fuel regulations come in for the fully sustainable fuel.
Is it 90 or 100? I can't remember if it's 90 or 100% sustainable fuels by 2026. I think it's 90 by 26, and then they're looking at doing 100% by 2030. I think. I might have that completely wrong and round my neck, but I think
that sounds about right.
From memory, I think that's what they're going for.
Yeah. So we'll be seeing big changes and getting rid of the MGUH. So that obviously means there's going to be major changes within the engine because if they're going to be generating less heat. Apparently, F1 are going to be developing their own fuel.
I'll go well.
God.
Yeah.
So the more you pay, the better. The more you pay, the better it'll be. Yeah, they've just launched the enhanced 4K F1 TV premium service today. Not that we'd know anything about it in the UK because we're not allowed to have it.
No.
But now you can get it. Now you can get it in 4K.
It's going to be the only place you can hear Alex Jakes now, which is a shame because I really like Alex Jakes. He's F2. Good luck to Chris McCarthy though.
Yeah.
I think we've completely glossed over Sauber and just got totally derailed. And I think that
sums up our expectations of Sauber.
Yeah, they've had a bad test, haven't they? I mean, we didn't really speak about Red Bull and their test either.
Yeah.
They were not happy with their test. Pierre Vacher, or Vache, whatever his name is, he's decided to he's already come out basically and said that we probably haven't gone the right direction for the last year of these rules. So either Red Bull are going to duck out early and concentrate on 26, or they've got to make some major changes. But I mean, as I said, 20 minutes or so ago, Red Bull are the kind of team that can look at their data that they got from testing and be like, all right, okay, this is what we need to change, and then put, front row lockout in Australia. They're just that kind of team who can do that.
Yeah, we accidentally put a sandbag in that we didn't know about part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that leaves the 10th and final team on the grid this year, because it's going to be an 11-team grid next year. Williams, which to me is the most intriguing driver pairing on the grid.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of talk that Sainz is going to completely destroy Albon, and I don't agree.
I don't know yet. I don't know. It's hard to tell, isn't it?
I mean, there's been people saying, Albon only looks as good as he does because look at who he's been racing alongside. And, well, yeah, but the points that he's scoring, you've still got to beat at least 10 other drivers to get those points. And if your teammate's crap, well, you've still got to beat 9 other drivers to get into the points.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is with Williams as well, they do genuinely look like, from testing, that they've made a huge leap forward. Possible. I've seen some of the rankings from some media outlets that they're 5th or 6th. Some teams have them, ahead of Alpine. Some of them have them just behind. But pretty much, along with Alpine spearheading that midfield behind those top 4 teams. So that is going to be something to watch out for, because it's been a long time since Williams were even considered, a decent midfield team. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
For them to be, they've got the drivers, definitely got the drivers. Albon and Sainz are both very competent, very good drivers. As you say, Albon's been leading that team for a couple of years now. Although I don't think that's a problem for Sainz. I think, obviously, couple of races maybe just to get used to sort of how everything goes in the Williams garage. Same for every driver at a new team. And I think by mid-season, I think they'll be very evenly matched across the whole season, Albon and Sainz. But I see Albon maybe getting the jump on Sainz to start with, and then Sainz pulling it back.
And I think they're also the kind of 2 drivers that will actually work well together and push each other on.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
When Latifi was having his one good race in Hungary, and what Albon wanted to do to help him, before he'd even scored a point for the team.
Yeah.
And I just get the feeling that they can both be easygoing enough to work well together.
It was Russell.
It was Russell in the team,
yeah.
wasn't it? Not Albon.
Yeah, it was.
Talking crap.
And we get that crazy race, don't we? Once a year, maybe twice a year, where it chucks it down, and like half the field make a wrong decision, or there's a big crash at turn 1 or something, much like Hungary a few years back. I think if you're a team like Williams, you want drivers like Sainz and Albon, especially Sainz in that situation, I would say, who can take advantage of the fact that maybe the top teams have not performed that day. And if a podium, or even maybe, dare I say, a race win becomes available, Sainz and Albon are the 2 drivers you probably want there for the rest of the, when you look at the rest of the field outside the top 4 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Sainz and Albon are probably the 2 drivers that you would pick to say, I'd want those in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, a couple of quality drivers in a team that finished 9th last year.
Mm.
I think Williams are a good bet for 6th.
5th or 6th, maybe, depending on how the Doohan Colapinto thing plays out.
Yeah.
It all depends on Alpine. It's just that they are the wild card.
You would think on paper that Williams have potential to be a bit more consistent, whereas I think Alpine will probably fluctuate a bit.
Yeah, I think Alpine are going to spend all year slagging off the engine because they can now. Because it's definitely not powerful enough. The main problem with Williams is, which they seem to have fixed from last year, is the weight problem on the car, because the car started the season as the heaviest on the grid. Now, from what's come out of testing, they've managed to fix that, and they're not one of the lightest, but they're not the worst anymore. So that could help, because Williams did get off to a little bit of a slow one last year, and they admitted they knew what the problems were, but they just didn't know how to solve them at the time. So without those issues, I think we could see a quicker start from them.
Yeah, quite likely. Much like sort of the comeback we've seen from McLaren since when was it, 2014 that McLaren started having problems.
Yeah.
Much like we've seen that comeback from McLaren 10 years later, constructors champions. It would be amazing if Williams could get back up to a point where they're winning races, finish on podiums. That would be, that's the Formula One I remember when I was a kid. Rose tinted glasses. You're looking at this with rose tinted glasses, not me. But yeah, that's what it should be. It should be, Williams, McLaren, Ferrari. They're the three teams, successful teams from, with a lot of history in Formula One. I mean, Williams go back to what, late 70s? Is it mid 70s? McLaren late 60s. Ferrari been there since the very beginning. So these are the teams we want to see doing well in Formula One.
Definitely. Yeah. But don't take our predictions for it, because don't forget, 10 years ago we were saying how the McLaren-Honda partnership was going to be really good, and a certain member of the team who can't be with us tonight was saying how Alonso was going to definitely win the first race and carry it on from there. That would be the first race that he didn't take part in after binning it in pre-season testing and having to be replaced by K-Mag.
God, I forgot K-Mag had got a reprieve.
But then Alonso was definitely winning the title in 22.
Yes.
Yeah. That was McLaren that year, who finished, ninth.
Oh no, did they? Ninth in 2014.
Yeah, 2015.
2015, sorry, with the Honda engine.
Yeah, just ahead of Marussia.
Oh.
Oh, not that.
I'm shaking my head. You can all see this, right?
So that is how good we can be at predicting stuff. Now, if you want to predict stuff, the Prediction League, as I say, will be up and running at threelegsfourwheels.com by the time you listen to this. And give us your predictions for top 5, pole, fastest lap. No points for the fastest lap in the Real Grand Prix this year, but we're still doing it in our predictions.
Should we make predictions, though, for the top 3 in a fastest lap?
Yes, I think we should.
Yeah. Why not?
So,
well, I know why not, because I've been dreadful at that prediction league for the last 8 years I've been part of it.
Right, I'm gonna go first. I am gonna go for Piastri to win. Max second and Lando third. And I think the fastest lap, I think Lawson will get that.
Ooh,
interesting.
I'm going to go for a Norris win, Verstappen second, and Leclerc third, with a Russell fastest lap.
I will go for a Leclerc win.
Ooh, Ferrari
wow.
on top.
A strong start.
Lando second. Antonelli third.
Oh,
Why
good
not?
lord.
Roller dice. And the fastest lap will be someone utterly pointless. Someone who's... Oh, well, actually, there's no point in doing fastest lap now if you're bum United, is there?
Unless you're trying to catch someone in front of you.
Yeah. I will take Russell.
Okay, Flood.
I was going to go the same as Sean, but I'm going to go slightly different.
Oh,
because
sorry.
Sorry, no, it's fine. You went before me, so you're allowed to choose your drivers. I'm going to say Piastri win, Norris second, Antonelli third, Antonelli fastest lap.
Oh.
Right. And I've forgotten to put mine on, or 2 of them. But I will complete that. Right, I will put those in, and I will keep the page
Your
going.
prediction is that 18 people retire.
Hey, it could happen. It's Australia. Remember 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Right, we will be back next week with a race review. God, I love to be able to say that.
Yay.
And we will be more regular this year, I promise. It's been a chaotic decade so far.
We're gonna start taking Senecott.
So yeah, we'll be back next week. If you want to get in touch, then obviously 3legs4wheels@gmail.com for people that still use email. On the socials at 3legs4wheels or 3legs4wheels.com on Blue Sky. Individually, our socials are
At Sean Cowper.
I'm at Flood21.
At Kieran is boring.
And I'm at Pablo100. Do we have anything else?
There was one thing I loaded up on my screen that I was going to share with you, and I forgot entirely about it when we were talking about Jake Humphrey, and I was looking for it, and I found it. A LinkedIn post from Jake Humphrey just after Christmas, which says, and I want you to complete the sentence, I met my wife 25 years ago, but this week we decided to do something we haven't done before. With the kids away at the sofa at a sleepover, we what?
Okay, well, if there's already kids, then that rules out my first answer. What would...
He's posting it on LinkedIn. That's interesting as a start. It's not going to be an exciting answer, is it?
No, it means they did something charitable.
It was on Instagram. Sorry, it wasn't LinkedIn. It was Instagram.
Oh, so it's not charitable then, because you don't. Because that would have been on LinkedIn. With the kids away at sleepover, we decided to paint the bathroom.
I'm going to go watch Star Wars for the first time, because he strikes me as the kind of person that's never seen a Star Wars film.
Not a bad shout. No, I'm afraid the correct answer is much more Jake Humphrey. With the kids away at a sleepover, we went for dinner at a lovely local pub and aligned on our personal and parental goals for 2025.
See, that sounds very LinkedIn, aligning on your goals. Ugh.
Yeah. aligning on our parenting goals.
He KPI'd his wife.
Parenting goals. Okay, not a parent, but I'm just gonna. Are your kids still alive? Then you're doing all right.
Congratulations, met in part.
Right, can I just point out when I said we're at 3 Legs 4 Wheels on the socials, we're not on LinkedIn.
No. But neither was this shite.
Oh, that's true.
We went for some amazing tapas and asked ourselves these 6 questions.
Oh, God.
Where did 2024 miss the mark for you? Where did you feel let down like me? What does a great 2025 look like?
What do you mean, where did you feel let down like me? I didn't feel let down.
Yeah, what have you done, Flood? Poor old Humphrey. How can I support that? What are the things that currently light you up? What are we in the habit of still doing that no longer serves you and we should drop? I'm thinking marrying Jake Humphrey might be one of them.
Was this date night or a job interview?
Exactly. He appraised his wife.
Fucking hell.
Where do you see where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Not married to you, you twit.
Sat here with Adrian Newey. Oh no, that was Adrian Newey's wife, wasn't it? Yeah, no, sorry.
Right, on that note, somebody please send us in an Is That Glock, because we've run out. And it's a good thing, and I'd like to keep it going.
Absolutely, I really enjoy Is That Glock.
Right, we'll be back next week. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, and happy birthday to us.
Yes.